Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Spiritual desire. And what is that? How can desire be spiritual? We associate desire with, what do we say, the pleasures of the flesh, like more of that hormonal wanting. When we want, from a genetic point of view, it always comes from the story of lack. As I have explained before, when you're hungry, you want food. What happens when you lift yourself above that genetic wanting, which is always compensating for something you're lacking, and there is no plan to go beyond it? The moment we genetically recognize that, oh, okay, I'm full, that's it. Because that's the only purpose, that's the only plan. This is often in life why we really don't get anywhere. Because the plan was simply to still the hunger. We don't achieve greatness that way. We get fat. Which is one form of greatness, I guess. But I've talked about, emotional and mental obesity, which is when we feed ourselves with all these horizontal wants and desires. But we have no plan to go beyond it. So we're not going anywhere. This is also why people often feel that they're going in circles, why we end up in the same place. Because genetically, you have no plan to go anywhere. Ever. The moment you identify a want, you stand still until that want has been satisfied, because you tell yourself the story that I need this in order to move on. If only this happens, then I can. And in today's world, where we're all being triggered by so much stress, we have all sorts of wants, emotional, mental pains. And we stand still. So it's interesting that many people today, although we live in a world with endless opportunity, we have more opportunities now than any humans ever had. And yet, many people stand still more than ever. Because when we are in a state of that stress and overwhelm, and we create the story, I need this, I need that, I should have had that, why didn't that happen? Our genetics is telling us you have to stand still until this has been balanced. We create the stories that I need to get this fixed, I need to have this want satisfied first. Just think of how you tell yourself stories about what is necessary before you can. It becomes excuses, it becomes explanations to why we can't. And we have thousands of stories telling us why we can't do something because we lack this, we lack that. We didn't get what we needed as a child, we were never given the opportunity, that kind of thing. And we stand still. We want the map first. We need to dive in and just do stuff. So, how do we go from that into spiritual desire? And what is spiritual desire? It's important, though, to first recognize that, the happiness and contentment we get from having our physical and horizontal needs met, it's a false happiness, because it's simply the reward chemicals you get from being right, which is telling you that you will survive. You're on top of the food chain here because now you've got everything sorted. So that level of happiness is simply the confirmation that, yeah, you will survive. If somebody's going to die, it's not you, honey. You know, it's someone else. So the next level, spiritual desire, it's something that on a spiritual journey you will get to. It's when you realize that the purpose of all your talents, your creativity, everything you do, your interactions, your co-creations and whatnot, it's to bring you to the full potential, the full unfoldment. And you understand that, oh, okay, when I chase my physical wants, I am actually standing still. And the more I chase them, the more I stand still, and I block myself completely. And then you get it. It's not about satisfying the physical wants. It's about learning how to recognize what I need in order to grow and unfold. And doing that in the physical is just training myself into recognizing imbalances and how to balance them. But when you apply that to figure out how can I make myself grow, how can I unfold more, how can I go beyond any limitation, you will start to rewire yourself. We start feeling our desire for truth as a physical, yearning and burning, almost sexual desire. It's passionate and it's physical. And you can ache because you want to move into truth so much. And once you connect with that desire, it becomes even more physical and it takes over for physical wants. And you are not suppressing your physical wants. Even in your brain, you recognize, oh, it's not as important. Because what you sense also in your body, when you are present, when you are in your flow, it's a state where all needs have already been met. Because you're beyond survival. Because the moment you step beyond survival, there is no need to try to survive anymore. And even in meditation, spiritual practices, many of you experience this. You get to a state of flow where you just know everything is complete. I have no needs, I have no wants, nothing. But whatever I am in now, I want more of it. And it becomes this passionate desire for truth. And it's interesting because it's not really personal. It's a desire to go beyond the self, which for the self and the ego can seem strange, but it's the same type of chemicals. The body and the brain will interpret it as part of the individual journey. While in that flow, you also recognize I have to go beyond the self, because the self is the complex of limitation. It's a complex of denial, of resistance. And you'll be filled with the spiritual desire because you recognize in that flow there is everything. It's only when you're in that state of presence that you connect with what you are. Everything else feels limited. And then looking at the story of the horizontal needs, it seems like, why did I even bother? It only made me stand still.